ご遠慮ください or お控えください less polite やめていただけますか semi-formalish やめてください casually やめて and the more rude way やめろーこんにちは、ジャパニーズアモのミサです。Hey guys! You know how there are different levels of politeness in Japanese? So when you talk to a customer, you use a super polite form. You use keigo, right? And then when you're talking to your friends, you speak casually. We say like タメ語, for example. Like タメ語で話す or タメ口で話す Or if you want to sound more like a yakuza or delinquent, you'd use a rude form. Okay? So we're going to look at very useful phrases and compare the levels of politeness. So, are you guys ready? 準備はいい? So, when you want to say stop it informally, like you want to say stop it to your friends, you say やめて, やめて. We also sometimes add the yo particle at the end and say やめてよ, やめてよ. We add this yo when we want the attention from the listener or we are telling something new, something the listener doesn't know. So it adds the nuance like, hey, stop it. やめてよ. Okay, so you can say やめて, やめてよ. Or you can also say やめてくれる, やめてくれる. You can also have this てくれる to mean can you. You can say verb in the dictionary form のをやめて to mean stop doing something. So if you want to say stop crying, you say 泣くのやめて informally. You can also add the o particle in between and say 泣くのをやめて but generally when speaking informally we omit the o particle and say 泣くのやめて or another example 聞こえないふりするのやめて聞こえないふりするのやめて Stop pretending that you can't hear me. 聞こえない is cannot hear. And ふりをするmeans to pretend. 聞こえないふりするのやめてよ. Stop pretending. Like, I know you can hear me. 聞こえてるんでしょ? Alright. Now, more formally, you can add ください after the te form, right? You can say やめてください. やめてください. So you can say that to a stranger, but this is not very suitable for business situations. You can make this a little bit more politer by changing てください into ていただけますか? ていただけますか? いただく means to receive, literally. It's like もらう, but more polite. This is the humble way to say to receive. いただく. The same いただく from the phrase いただきます before eating. Right? I humbly receive. Anyway, いただけますか? The te form plus いただけますか means could you please do something? So very polite, right? So やめていただけますか is polite. やめていただけますか So you could use that. But what native speakers would use is different. Japanese native speakers would say ご遠慮ください. ご遠慮ください. Or お控えください. お控えください. In business situations. So when an employee has to say, please, could you refrain from doing something, they say ご遠慮ください or お控えください to a customer. Okay, so やめてください is technically polite but not polite enough for a customer. It's like saying please is not enough. You have to say could you please kindly refrain from doing something. Both 遠慮する and 控える mean to refrain. 遠慮 is such a common word. It can also mean hesitation. You will often hear 遠慮せずに or 遠慮なく or ご遠慮なく to mean feel free to ご遠慮なくおっしゃってください can mean please feel free to tell me something. Or we often say 遠慮しないでてね、when speaking casually, like 遠慮しないで聞いてね or 遠慮せずに聞いてね feel free to ask me. Anyway, ご遠慮ください or お控えください So please refrain from smoking. We often say 喫煙はご遠慮ください。喫煙はご遠慮ください。喫煙 is just more formal way to say タバコを吸う to smoke a cigarette. So that's the very polite formal form, right? Now, if you want to make this rude, okay, so やめて is not that rude. It's still casual. Like you can use it to a friend. But if you wanna be rude, if you wanna sound more aggressive, you say やめろ やめろ Right, so if you are fighting, you say やめろ That means stop it. So you will hear this a lot in anime. やめろ So instead of like don't, stop, you can say やめろ So やめる becomes やめろ Okay? So from very polite to very rude, you say ご遠慮ください or お控えください Less polite やめていただけますか Semi-formalish やめてください Casually やめて and the more rude way やめろやめろ Next Do you guys know how to say, please wait a sec? You can say, ちょっと待って informally. ちょっと待って So, 待つ to wait becomes 待って in the te form, the request form. 待って and you can say ちょっと to mean a little bit. ちょっと待って So you can use it like, give me a second, wait a minute. ちょっと待って Now, to make this a bit more polite, you say 少し待ってください。少し待ってください。So again, you can say that to a stranger, like not as an employee. So it's like you just are saying that to a neighbor or, someone who is not a customer, you can just say that. 少し待ってください。Okay? But if you're talking to a customer, this is not enough. You say, 少々お待ちください。少々お待ちください。Okay, so ちょっと becomes 少し to sound more formal. And even more formally, you say 少々。Okay, ちょっと少し少々。So 少々お待ちください。少々お待ちください。This is how an employee is meant to talk to a customer. So if you say ちょっと待って to a customer, you'll get fired. Alright, now your favorite part. How to sound rude. So instead of 待って、small 2 plus て you say 待て、待て。Can you hear the difference? 待って、待て。Okay, no small 2. 待て。If you want to sound more threatening, you can, for example, say, こら、待て! こら、待て! If you watch some like 不良 or Yakuza stuff, you will probably hear this こら a lot. I mean, not just Yakuza, people can say こら to mean, oi, hey, when they are angry. So some pet owners would say こら to their pets if they're doing something naughty. If you say it right, you can sound very scary. こら、待て! Or you can change the order and say 待てこら! So again, very polite. 少々お待ちください. Then, 少し待ってください. Then, ちょっと待って. Then, おいこら、待て! Tsugi, how do you say, please have a seat? So, First, if you want to say that to your friend, so sit down, have a seat, you can say 座って、座って. Remember, don't say 触って because that would mean please touch me, right? So you don't want to sound pervy. You want to say 座って、座って. Like you can say ここ座って to mean sit here, right? But if you say ここ触って it means touch me here, touch me there. So, yeah. So, 座って. So that's how you can say sit down to your friend. Have a seat. And then more politely, you could say 座ってください. 座ってください. But this is not very polite. It's like saying please sit down. Now, if you want to sound more polite, you want to say that to a customer, to a guest, please have a seat. You'd say おかけください. おかけください. You will probably often also hear どうぞおかけください. どうぞおかけください. We say どうぞ plus ください to sound more polite, okay? Please have a seat. Now the rude time. Instead of 座って, you'd say 座れ, 座れ. Again, don't say 触れ because you would just sound like a sexual offender, which you don't want to. So instead of 触れ, you say 座れ. I mean, 座れ is not nice either, but at least you are not, you know, I don't know. Alright, so 座れ is very scary. You can also add the your particle again, 座れよ. Or you can say, for example, 座れよカス. カス can mean you piece of shit. So 座れよカス. Alright, very polite. どうぞおかけください. 座ってください. 座って座れ. 次. Do you know how to say may I? Can I? Is it okay? We would say いい. Very easy, right? It means good. いい. Like you can say 天気がいい to mean the weather is good, right? But you can also use this word いい to mean like can I? Is it okay? If you want to, for example, say can I do something, you'd use the te form plus も plus いい. So 座ってもいい means can I sit down? Can I sit here? ここ座ってもいい? Sometimes the mo is omitted as well, so you will hear ここ座っていい? ここ座っていい? And sometimes you don't have to specify what you can do, right? So you can just say can I? Is it okay? You say いい? You can also do the dictionary form よ いい to mean I'm gonna do this, okay? So 写真送るよいい? I'm gonna send the pictures, okay? Anyway, いい is informal, okay? いい More formally, you say いいですか? いいですか? So, can I take a picture? Formally, you can say 写真を撮ってもいいですか? 写真を撮ってもいいですか? Now, even more formally, instead of いい, you say よろしい, okay? よろしい. So you say よろしいですか? Or even more formally, you can say よろしいでしょうか? Okay, so ですか becomes でしょうか when speaking ridiculously formally. So よろしいでしょうか? I know it's ridiculous, but you will hear this a lot, okay? That's how employees talk to their customers. よろしいでしょうか? So for may I take a picture? Instead of 写真を撮ってもいいですか? You might hear 写真をお撮りしてもよろしいでしょうか? 写真をお撮りしてもよろしいでしょうか? You will hear this お must form stem してもよろしいでしょうか to mean may I humbly do something. So, may I borrow this? You can say お借りしてもよろしいでしょうか? So, 借りる to borrow. 借り is the must form stem. So, お plus 借り plus しても plus よろしいでしょうか。お借りしてもよろしいでしょうか。Now, if you want to sound more rude, you would say いいかいいか This would make you sound more masculine and rude. いいか So, often if you watch an anime and there is a commander, for example, the commander might say, いいかよく聞け Well, it doesn't have to be a commander. It can be some strict coach, teacher. So, いいかよく聞け Alright, listen to me carefully. It sounds more scary than いい次 How do you say it doesn't taste good? So, when you want to say delicious, you can say おいしい right? おいしい So, you can just negate that and say おいしくないおいしくない So, when speaking informally, you can say これおいしくない、This doesn't taste good. Okay? これおいしくない Now, to make this a little bit more polite, you can just put this at the end and say おいしくないです Or you can also use くありません which sounds slightly more polite as well. おいしくありません So, if you're talking to, for example, a senpai, a senior, you can say that おいしくありません But if you're in like a really fancy restaurant and you are talking to your super rich client, for example, and you have to be honest, like that client hates liars, for example, and you have to say it doesn't taste good. You'd say, 私の口には合いませんでした。私の口には合いませんでした。So, 私の口, my mouth, right? 合う、合わない、合いません。This 合う is different from the 合う, which means to meet. Even the kanji is similar, but this 合う means to match, to fit, to agree with. Right, so 私の口には合いませんでした means this was not to my taste. So that's the most polite way to say it's not delicious. Now, when speaking casually, you can say おいしくない or まずい right? まずい But this is a lot more direct than おいしくない おいしくない means it's not delicious. Okay? まずい means it's disgusting, it's nasty. Tastes horrible. Okay, so it's, even worse. まずい Now, if you want to make it sound super rude, you can say くそまずいくそまずい Kuso means shit. So it tastes like shit. くそまずい And you can also change まずい into まじい to make it sound more rude and masculine. So くそまじい means it tastes horrible. Alright, so super polite. 私の口には合いませんでした。おいしくありません。おいしくないです。おいしくない。まずい。くそまずい。くそまじい。次。Can you say it again? Please say. You say. 言って。Okay, informally. 言って。Say it. 言って。And one more time. We'd say. もう一回。もう一回。Okay? 一回 means one time. And by adding this more, it means one more time. More does mean already, but if you put it in front of a counter, it means more. もう一人, for example, means one more person. Okay? So, もう一回言って You can say that to your friend. もう一回言って You can also add this くれる at the end. Can you say again? もう一回言ってくれる Which makes it sound softer. もう一回言ってくれる Can you say it again? Now, to make this more polite, you can say もう一度言ってください。もう一度言ってください。So, instead of 一回, you say 一度 when speaking formally. 一度。 もう一度言ってください。もう一度言ってくれますか ?You can use くれますか instead of くれる Or, even better, we often say もう一度お願いします。もう一度お願いします。This might be easier for you and also very common. Okay? もう一度お願いします。So when we can't hear something and we want the other person to repeat something on the phone, we'd say もう一度お願いします instead of もう一度言ってください。もう一度お願いします is more common. Now, もう一度お願いします is fine, polite enough. You can make it even more polite by saying もう一度おっしゃってください。もう一度おっしゃってください。おっしゃってください is the ridiculously polite way to say 言ってください。And even more politely, you'd say もう一度おっしゃっていただけますかもう一度おっしゃっていただけますか Oh my gosh. So, remember this ていただけますか means could you please? Again, おっしゃってください is already super polite. But instead of てください, if you say ていただけますか could you please? It sounds even more polite. Just make it longer and it will sound more polite, right? もう一度おっしゃっていただけますか This is super long and pretty hard. So, もう一度お願いします is polite enough and very common. So don't worry. Just use もう一度お願いします. Because, you know, if you say もう一度おっしゃっていただけますかwrong, then they're gonna ask you to repeat that. So it's gonna be, you know, like repeating war. Like, can you say, yeah, what? Can you say again? No. You know, it's just ridiculous. So, yeah. Alright, so with friends, you can say もう一回言って or もう一回言ってくれる or sometimes just もう一回 one more time. But even informally, we just say え It's not the politest form, but we do say a lot え huh? By the way, saying は that's the rude way. You know, it's quite common to say は or like maybe Canadians would say a, right? は sounds very rude in Japanese. So if you want to make this え more rude, you say は The weather is good, huh? Even this huh, like I had to get used to it. Like to me it sounded rude. So when I started learning English and like I was talking to my American friend and we are having a good chat, right? And suddenly she goes, huh? And I was like, oh, is she hungry? Oh my gosh. So, huh sounds like you're hungry in Japanese. Huh? And instead of huh, you can also say and that's very rude as well. So often like we think Yakuza would say to me, what? What did you say? So instead of もう一回言って you know, you can say は or 次 how do you say I don't know, I don't understand? So I don't understand, you can say わかんない informally, casually. Okay? わかんない You can also say わからないわからない But more informally we say わかんないわかんない And more formally you can say わかりませんわかりません And this is completely fine, okay? Just say わかりません if a teacher says do you understand and you don't understand. Okay? わかりません But in business speech you might hear わかりかねますわかりかねます So this is very formal. Now, the fun, rude way is wakannai. Wakannai. So, if you say ne instead of nai, it sounds more rude. So, the negative nai becomes ne in a more rude speech. So, kawaiku-nai becomes kawaiku-ne. Kawaiku-ne. Okay, so that's more rude and vulgar. So, instead of wakannai, you say wakannai. Wakannai. I don't understand. So that sounds rude. So a lot of teenage kids say wakannai yo. Wakannai yo. Now we had wakaranai. Now what about shiranai? Shiranai. I have a lesson on the differences between wakaranai and shiranai, and I don't want this lesson to be about those differences, but just to scratch the surface. Wakannai is used when you don't understand. Shiranai, like you've never heard of it and you don't have that knowledge. It's not that you don't understand, it's like you don't know, as in you're not aware of it. So if you've never heard of a title, like a film, a book, song, you say shiranai or kita koto nai, never heard. There is more to it, but for now, shiranai is how you say, I don't know, I'm not aware. So a stranger, you can say shiranai hito, a person you don't know. It's not that you don't understand, like a person you don't understand, you can say wakarinekui hito. We might say that, wakarinekui hito, a person who is hard to understand. A person you don't know, you say shiranai hito. Okay, shiranai hito. Now, you can make shiranai into shirimasen to make it more polite, formal. Shirimasen. Shirimasen. So again, if a stranger asks you how to get to like a hotel, for example, you don't know, you can say sumimasen, shirimasen, or sumimasen, wakarimasen. Both work in this situation. Or do you know this person? この人を知っていますか? And you can say 知りません. No, I don't. Now, if you are talking to a customer, you say 存じ上げません. 存じ上げません. So if a customer asks you about someone, 田中さんを知っていますか? You would say 田中様という方は存じ上げません. Sounds ridiculously polite. 田中様, I changed さん into 様 to make it more polite. And 田中様という方. Kata is a more formal way to say 人, person. So, and という is named as a person named Tanaka, Mr. Tanaka, Miss Tanaka. I do not know. 田中様という方は存じ上げません. You only need this phrase if you are working in like a hotel or somewhere really fancy. 次. How do you say gimme? So informally you can say ちょうだい, ちょうだい. So we often say ちょっとちょうだい. Give me some of it. ちょっとちょうだい. Now instead of ちょうだい, you can also say くれる, くれる. So ちょっとくれる. Can you give me some of it? ちょっとくれる. So this both are fine, although I would say ちょうだい is more common when speaking informally though. Now when speaking formally, you have to say ください, ください, somethingをください. So お水をください, please give me water. So you don't say 水ちょうだい when talking to, for example, a waiter, okay? And if you want to sound more polite, you can say いただけますか? いただけますか? So that's how, again, you talk to a customer. But you can also say that to a waiter as well. Like you just want to sound very polite when speaking to waiters, employees. You can say お水をいただけますか? I do say this as well. お水をいただけますか? Because it sounds nice. But again, if you're talking to a customer, you have to say いただけますか? For example, ご署名をいただけますか? ご署名 is your signature. いただけますか? Literally, may I receive? Okay? Now, if you want to sound rude and say, give me that! you say, yokose, yokose. Now you can sound like a robber. Kane yokose. Bank robber would say, kane yokose. So, very politely, you can say, itadakemasu ka? Then, kudasai. Then, kureru. Then, chodai. Then, yokose. Tsugi, how do you say, please come here? You can say, kite, informally, kite. So the verb is irregular, so it conjugates in a crazy way, but kuru is the dictionary form, and kite is the te form, okay? Kuru, kite. So to say, come here, you can say, kochi kite, kochi kite. And to make this more polite, you can add kudasai and say, kite kudasai, kite kudasai. You might also hear zehi at the beginning. Zehi kite kudasai. Please do come. Zehi kite kudasai. Now, again, this is not polite enough if you're speaking to a customer or like a special guest. You'd say, zehi okoshi kudasai. Zehi okoshi kudasai. Or irashatte kudasai. Or irashite kudasai. They're all common, but okoshi kudasai, I would say, is the most common way to say please come. So please come here at 5 p.m. Very politely, you can say, gogo 5時にお越しください. Gogo 5時にお越しください. If you've been learning kanji, you will realize that, yes, that's the kanji we use for the word to move, hikkosu. So to a friend, you can say, kite, right? 明日来てね. Come tomorrow. Come here tomorrow. If you want to sound more aggressive, you say, koi, koi. So kuru becomes koi, okay? Koi. So, こっち来い. Come here. So, お越しください. 来てください. 来て, 来い. 次. We already kind of talked about this, but do you remember how to say, can I borrow? So to borrow, we say, kariru. Okay, kariru. So to a friend, you can say, 借りてもいい? 借りてもいい? Can I borrow it? 借りてもいい? And again, you can add ですか to make it more polite, right? 借りてもいいですか? 借りてもいいですか? This is totally acceptable to say to a stranger, but if you're speaking to a customer, you'd say, お借りしてもよろしいでしょうか? Remember this, よろしいでしょうか? お借りしてもよろしいでしょうか? Right, so to a friend, you can say, 借りてもいい? Or you could even say, 借りるね? If you're really close to your friend. 借りるね? I'm gonna borrow it, okay? 借りるね? Like, if you're super close to your friend or, you're talking to your family, that's fine. ハサミ借りるね? I'm gonna borrow your scissors, okay? Now, to make this rude, you can, for example, say, お前のものは俺のもの. お前のものは俺のもの. This would probably make the other person laugh. This is a phrase, famous phrase from like children's anime Doraemon. If you've never heard of Doraemon, you should check it out. It's really good. I mean, it's for kids, but it's brilliant. It's good for learning Japanese as well. You might just get sick of the main character Nobita-kun because he's not good. But Doraemon is awesome. And there is a character, he's a bully. He's meant to be bully. He sometimes is good, but generally a bad kid. He's called Giant. And Giant always says, 俺のものは俺のもの。お前のものも俺のもの。What's mine is mine, and what's yours is also mine. So instead of, I'm gonna borrow it, you say, what's yours is mine. お前のものは俺のもの and just take it. But again, probably a yakuza wouldn't say that because that would, make the other person laugh. And if you laugh, you die. Anyway, they might just say yokose again, like give that to me. Very harsh. Yokose is the same as, give me. Alright, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned quite a bit. If you'd like more videos like this, please let me know in the comments and share it with your friends and your family, everyone. It really helps me, my channel. And thank you so much for always supporting me. And I would like to thank all my patrons as well. It's all thanks to you guys that I can keep recording and uploading videos. So, ありがとうございます。Alright, so see you in the next video. じゃあまたね。バイバイ。